Welcome to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast, where you can learn and be inspired by real-world examples of how technology is transforming businesses and reshaping industries in a language everyone can understand. Here is your host, Neil C. Hughes.
Welcome back to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast. How are you all doing out there in internet land? Well, thank you once again for joining me and helping me bring a much more positive narrative to this increasingly crazy world we find ourselves in right now. And I've got a great story to share with you today. SundaySky is a company that's transforming the customer experience for the world's most demanding brands and enabling them to deliver video-powered experiences that actually drive breakthrough outcomes at moments of consequence across the customer journey. And with SundaySky's video experience platform, brands are generating millions of unique digital experiences annually that transform high-stakes moments of consumer frustration, confusion, indecision, and transform them into moments of engagement that delight and inspire customers to action. Now, you have probably already come across some of the videos on some of the biggest websites out there in the world, but today I want to take you on a little sneak peek behind the curtain at the magic that makes it all possible. So buckle up and hold on tight so I can beam your ears all the way to New Jersey so we can speak with Jim Dicso from SundaySky. So a massive warm welcome to the show. Can you tell the listeners a little about who you are and what you do?
Certainly. I'm Jim Dicso. I'm the chief executive of SundaySky. And SundaySky is a company that provides a platform to activate video-powered experiences, enabling brands of all sizes to educate, engage, and inspire customers at key moments across customer journeys.
It's incredibly cool what you're doing. I'm conscious there will be a lot of people listening all over the world that are hearing about you guys for the first time. So for those people, can you just tell me a little bit more about the kind of problems that you're solving with technology and also what makes you different from all those other solutions out there?
First, if we take the first part of our value proposition, that we allow brands to engage consumers across journeys, we think about the context of that consumer engagement across a number of specific journeys that are most either complex for the consumer or have the most choice or have the most opportunity for education. And we focus first and foremost on those journeys. So the four key ones are, and these journeys are from the point of view of the consumer. So a consumer, in the Convert Me journey, where for the brand, you're trying to engage them across all of the touch points throughout the awareness and decision and purchase funnel. We have solutions to drive better conversion performance. For the Clarify for Me journey, where a consumer may have a question about a service or an issue or a problem that they're trying to solve, we help simplify the complexity of certain products and services and address those points of confusion. Third is the Convince Me of the Value journey perspective, where someone's evaluating whether to continue and renew a service or look to add an additional value-added service, where the brand wants to address their specific questions and convince them why it makes sense for them. And then finally, the Care About Me journey, where someone's evaluating, or from the brand's perspective, trying to reward loyalty and show the consumer appreciation. And so in each of those journeys, what we do is leverage what a brand knows about that person's data profile at that moment in time, to activate data-driven, personally relevant, interactive, and dynamic video-powered experiences where the video is built for the person at that moment in time based on what's known about that person at that moment in time. So think about it as a kind of a micro content of video that's broken down into a modular medium, and then activate a a data-driven strategy to build those pieces of content, that video, for that person at that moment. And what makes us unique is first and foremost the way that our platform allows video to be authored in a modular fashion. The fact that we activate those modular dynamic videos across all paid and owned channels in an omni-channel environment, and with a focus on driving consumers to take action that delivers a breakthrough outcome for the brand and benefit for the consumer.
And I think one of the things that really stood out for me when I was researching you guys as well is how you contextualize customers' first experience with a brand by creating this interactive media that lets them guide the journey or get that self-service assistance even faster. But can you expand on that for me?
Certainly. Maybe I'll share with you an example from one of our large, very referenceable customers, Comcast, where a consumer of Comcast has a number of different journeys that they're engaged with. One of them is the billing journey. And what Comcast is trying to do is explain the first bill in a way that addresses the most frequently asked questions so that the consumer doesn't need to make a call. And so we use the data about the bill from the billing system that populates the paper bill or the electronic bill. And we actually use that data to explain your bill to you using your bill data. And so that's a highly individualized experience where no two video experiences are alike because the video is built for you with your data at that moment in time. How much you owe, when that amount is due, based on what breakdown of fees and services. The second example, though, that Comcast uses us for is onboarding new customers with the installation of their internet or television or some combination of services that they bought from Comcast. So two customers can make a purchase for the exact same product configuration, but it's important to recognize that there are different devices, different routers, different television sets. And even though the product configuration, right, I bought a bundle of TV and internet, and my TV has 3 boxes and my internet has 2 routers, the actual configuration of devices in my home is unique to me. And so what Comcast wants to do for customers that choose the self-install option is educate them on how to successfully complete the self-install. And so what they don't want to do is force a consumer to watch 15 minutes of video content to solve for just one question that the consumer has. So what we've done is we've worked with them to build an interactive video experience where the viewer makes decisions while watching the video, what content is most relevant to them at that moment. And then they basically choose their own path in the video to solve their requirements with the least amount of content necessary. So the idea isn't just to watch video for video's sake, but to help the consumer solve their problem in the most efficient manner possible. And we do that through interactivity in the video itself.
So can you tell me how you bring all that to life? Because I think it's through this buildable modular video and multimedia and putting all that together. But can you expand on that a little as well, just to help bring it all to life?
You know, everybody has watched countless videos, and the usual experience is you click play, and everybody who clicks play watches the exact same video, and that's because it's a linear medium. But what's happening in the video is you have an animation layer, you have data that's presented in the video, you have narration, you have music, you have sound effects, and so you have different layers of the video. And what we've done, what was the invention from the company, is to actually flip that and make video into a modular medium. So now every scene in the video stands alone. The animation, the narration, the data, and the music and sound effects are all still on their own layers. And each of those layers has the ability to vary based on data and logic. So when you and I each click play to watch a video, the first thing that happens is that our cloud platform makes a call to the data source for the brand that's sponsoring the video to get data about us, and then uses that data first to select the appropriate scenes from the scene library to include in the video. And then second is it makes a unique version of the animation, the data presentation, the narration, et cetera, so that you and I can have a completely different experience when watching the exact same video because of our respective data profiles. And if you and I each click play to watch the exact let's just say I click play in the afternoon to watch the same video that I watched in the morning, I could see a different version of that same video if something about my data profile changed in between that time period. So that allows us to deliver an unlimited number of permutations of video-powered experiences.
That's incredibly cool. And I appreciate you gave me the example from Comcast there. And I also appreciate you probably can't mention too many brand names that you're working with. But are there any other any other business or brands that have used your video experience platform, that any examples around those two that just help everyone listening understand how you're delivering those engaging digital experiences? Because it is incredibly cool. And there's no such thing as that one size fits all now, is there?
Exactly. Well, I mean, the good news is many of our largest brands have not only are willing to have their case studies shared publicly, but they've actually gone on record to share their case studies publicly. So what I'll do is share a couple of them with you, and there's more available on our website, SundaySky.com. So the first industry I'll address is what we're doing in healthcare. That's a very, very hot button issue now as healthcare comes to the fore, both with COVID specifically, but healthcare more generally. And what United Healthcare has done is leveraged our platform to really support the early education of a plan participant in a new plan year. So all of us go through a process of selecting our specific plan with the choices for how many dependents and what the maximum amount of value out of pocket before the plan kicks in, silver, gold, platinum, and each of them has a different cost of the plan and different benefits of the plan. So what United Healthcare has done, and they're the first to do it, but many of our healthcare customers have adopted this same strategy, is that they use a video-powered experience to onboard new customers at the beginning of a plan year by recapping for them the selections they made and how to get the most benefit out of their plan, right? How to choose a local doctor as your primary care physician, how to leverage the digital tools and services, how to make sure that you don't exceed certain thresholds that would trigger additional expenses, et cetera. So in the healthcare space, that is one of our most repeated applications of VX. The second one I'll share is in the banking arena. And Bank of America is one of our largest and most mature customers. And really the way they got started with us was leveraging video-powered experiences to address their annual preferred rewards recap. So, how did you take advantage of Bank of America products and services in the prior year? And what benefits did you receive from being a preferred rewards member? And how could you get more benefits in the current year? And so that was initially a single experience at the beginning of each new fiscal year. But what they've evolved that to is to actually have it as part of a preferred rewards engagement strategy. So when they onboard a new preferred rewards customer, explaining how to get the most out of preferred rewards, as someone gets close to a threshold to move from one tier to the next, what do they need to do to move between tiers, and what's the benefit of getting to the next tier? So they're using this in that, the appreciation phase of the life cycle, where we talk about showing how much Bank of America cares about their customer. We talked about the telecom and cable industry, multiple experiences across the acquisition journey, the onboarding journey, the bill explanation journey, the fix my service journeys. So lots of different applications, but I won't go further in that vertical. But the last one I'll land on is kind of the retail and grocery and the direct-to-consumer e-commerce verticals, where brands are trying to use digital as part of a customer acquisition strategy. And they want to be able to use paid media both for placement on sites like ESPN, and also placement in social sites like Instagram. And they want to use a dynamic video-powered experience to deliver an ad for an individual that's relevant to them, that's for a product or service that they're likely to want to take advantage of. So we make a more personally relevant advertising experience to drive better conversion yield for the brand and a better advertising experience for the consumer. So countless applications across multiple industries to drive real value.
And as the ex-IT guy, it was always drilled into me that you can only improve what you can measure. So I've got to ask, how do you determine how successful a campaign is or a video is? And do you have any metrics that you could share that would just give anyone listening an almost before and after pick of the kind of difference that it can make?
And I'll share the ones that have been shared in the public domain so that there's no concerns. The first one is AT&T, which is actually our very first customer back in 2011, with a video-powered experience focused on the billing journey, which was the first experience that they launched. And their then CTO, John Donovan, was quoted in a Forbes magazine article as saying that for every $1 that they spend with SundaySky, they drive $10 worth of bottom line impact from a combination of inbound call elimination, digital adoption, and churn reduction as the three primary hard metrics that they were measuring, as well as driving a notable improvement in Net Promoter Score, which is the customer experience metric that they were driving. The second example I'll share is from the Chief Customer Officer of E-Trade. This was in our summit earlier this year, where she was one of the keynote speakers. Her metric, and I smile when I read this because it seems absurdly high, but she said they drove a 1,183% lift in new account funding. Wow. So this is for customers that are new to E-Trade, where they sign up for an account, but the account doesn't really matter until they fund the account. And so the fund rate is a key measure. Fund rate within a time period is an even more specific measure of the likelihood of a customer becoming one of their high value customers. So they measure our ability to drive value in that funding rate, and we drove substantial impact there. There's a host of others around a return on ad spend. So one of our large retail clients measures the amount of incremental e-commerce revenue driven by the SundaySky experience, measured by the amount that they spend. So we're driving over 20x return on ad spend. So $20 of online revenue attributed to every dollar that's spent with SundaySky. And there's a host of others, but I think that hopefully is a reasonable outline.
It really is. It's incredible. Some incredible stats there. And of course, we can't have an interview without talking about the landscape and how it's changed this year. And so many businesses have had to pivot accordingly, and so many others are in a great position. And especially as digital companies or standard businesses are looking to digitize their efforts online. And I believe as a response, you created this new video ad tool that was designed for the COVID-19 marketing landscape to help businesses adapt to this new environment. But can you expand on that?
Certainly. I think maybe to start, the need to show empathy is more prominent today than ever.
Yeah.
And so the communication with empathy is you want to communicate facts and actions, but do so in an empathetic fashion. The challenge is, trying to accomplish that with written text or text plus images is a challenge, right? How do you strike the right tone, and how do you write with an appropriate tone? What we did was help brands take their COVID-related messaging and activate it through a video-powered experience. So, if you go to the websites of most large brands these days, you can, find a link to their COVID-related actions. And so, some companies, gave customers the ability to delay payments for 90 days, or they gave access to free services for the following 6 months, or they provided value-added service on top of what you're currently paying for as a way to show empathy and show consideration for their customers. The challenge is most of that communication written in heavy text results in very few people reading and having full context. So what we did is we created a templated approach for them to communicate their top 3 actions taken. So scene 1, scene 2, scene 3 related to the top 3 actions, and help them deliver that message in a much more empathetic fashion while still delivering the full context, as well as the means to take action and drive the associated value. So we found that to be extremely engaging and educational for consumers, and it did inspire the appropriate actions for the companies that took advantage of that.
And like you said, empathy is so important now and helping others out. So what is it that makes you most proud about this release?
So the power of our platform has always been greater than many companies can take advantage of, right? It's when you're activating data to deliver unique experiences, the more data you have access to, the more unique the experience can be. And so there's a combination of the know-how that we bring to the table in how to leverage that power, and the ability for our customers to work with us to leverage that power to achieve their desired goals. But a majority of the work was done by SundaySky, and a majority of that work was custom for each customer. What we've really done now is taken a lot of that know-how that historically has been in the brains of our people, and we've made it part of the product. So we've productized that expertise or codified that expertise into the platform. And then we've developed a configurable creative execution so that expertise can be activated in a lot more, much faster, much simpler, and much more self-serve than it ever was in the past. We first are applying that in the grocery vertical and the direct-to-consumer vertical, and increasingly bringing that to bear for healthcare and banking and other verticals to allow us to make this a much more ubiquitous capability available to the masses.
And now, of course, business leaders are beginning to prepare and plan for budget for 2021, which hopefully is going to be a much better year. But is there any advice that you would like to offer on how you see the landscape, how you see that landscape evolving, and also how to stay ahead of the curve?
Yeah. It's funny. I saw a funny meme the other day about the fact that I can't wait till the calendar turns to January because it's going to be a much better year. And the reality is that it's, we're on a continuum, right? Yeah. The things that are happening today, where connected TV is really the growth engine for, ahead of linear TV, where, video, whether it's TikTok or Instagram or YouTube, it's becoming ever more the primary means of engagement and communication. And so if you look at what's happening with connected TV, if you look at what's happening with video in all its forms, we believe the future state is a video-centric state. Now, it doesn't mean video will replace every kind of communication, but we do expect that video will become a primary means of communication. And in a world where brands want to deliver a unique experience to every person as a means of building their brand and their business, the ability to make every video experience dynamic becomes a key. So, selfishly, customer experience as a strategic theme, digital transformation as a strategic theme, and the growth of video as a strategic theme. When you combine those three, that's the intersection of where we chose to build our business 9 years ago when we did our first business activity in 2011.
For anyone listening that would like to find out more information about anything that we've talked about today, see some of those videos that you mentioned, or even contact a member of your team, what's the best way of doing that?
Certainly. You can certainly find us on SundaySky.com. We have a number of case studies, of quite a lot of content supporting an explanation of what it is and how it works, delivered through dynamic video. So that's probably the best place to learn about SundaySky. To contact me, I'm available on LinkedIn. Jim, last name is a tough one to grow up with, Dicso, Dicso. And so you could contact both me and SundaySky on LinkedIn or SundaySky.com.
I'd love to hear some of those nicknames, but I suspect I know what they are, but we won't go there.
Kids can be creative and cruel. Let's put it that way.
Well, a huge thank you for joining me on the podcast today. I've loved how you're engaging with customers and helping them move more quickly over to digital while having that limited data about the individual, etc. Just so much value in the conversation there, but a big thank you for taking the time to come and share that with me today.
My pleasure, Neil, and thank you for inviting us.
What I loved about our conversation today was that we've all seen those videos, or videos like it, but I, for one, never knew that those videos would change depending on who I am or what time I view that video on the website, or that behind the scenes, there's a huge focus on contextualizing customers' first experience with a brand by creating interactive media that lets them guide the journey or get to self-service assistance much, much faster. Incredibly cool, real eye-opener for me, and I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. But over to you, if there was any insights, anything we missed, any experiences or similar work that you're involved with, email me now, techblogwriter@outlook.com. You can tweet me at Neil C. Hughes. Let's keep this conversation going. I'd love to hear more about your experiences, so keep those coming in. And I'll return again tomorrow with another guest, bright and early, so don't be late. So thank you for listening. And until next time, don't be a stranger.
Thank you for listening to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast with Neil C. Hughes. Remember, technology works best when it brings people together.